What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JBsports back again with another one. Terrence Bud Crawford is looking for an opponent for a fall date. The months that they're looking at is September or October. Nothing has been finalized yet, but his veteran promoter Bob Arum is looking for an opponent for Crawford. Now, recently, three names had been mentioned as possible opponents for Crawford. Sean Showtime Porter, recently seen giving Errol Spence all he could handle and then some in a great unification matchup last year. He was being mentioned as a opponent. Another opponent that was mentioned was Yordanis Ugas. He's a guy that doesn't have a big fan base, but a guy that's out of Cuba, has a great amateur pedigree, and has been in there with the top fighters in the welterweight division. Lost a very close fight to Sean Porter. Was able to defeat Michael Dallas Jr., which was not a top fighter at welterweight division. But before that, he fought Figueroa on the undercard of a big pay-per-view fight, and he was able to get that win. Figueroa was undefeated coming into that matchup. So Yordanis Ugas is a guy that's to beat some top fighters. He's also beat Jamal James, another top fighter in the welterweight division. So Yordanis Ugas is another opponent they mentioned. And then one of the cash cows in boxing today, Manny Pacquiao. They was looking to stage a big fight overseas in the Middle East. In Bahrain was the location that they mentioned. But Bob Arum has recently came out and said that Bahrain won't be able to put that fight on to 2021 due to the coronavirus pandemic that is gripping the world. So that fight is not going to take place this year. So they're going to want to keep Terrence Crawford busy. He's been in the gym. I've been seeing a lot of his videos. He's looking real good in those videos, looking very sharp, looking swole, man. He's on top of his game, man. And he looks like he's itching to get back in that ring. So Bob Arum be looking to get him in the ring in the fall of 2020. Now, the opponent that I think is going to be Ray Robinson. Ray Robinson was last seen in the ring against Terrence Crawford's last opponents, Egis Kavalauskas, a.k.a. the Green Machine, who had Crawford in some trouble early on in that fight. Hit him with a right hand and buckled Terrence Crawford, and in a lot of people's opinion, knocked Terrence Crawford down. He was able to overcome that shaky moment, and he was able to win a very exciting fight as Terrence Crawford fought a very aggressive fight, and he was on the hunt, and he was able to end up stopping Egis Kavalauskas in a fight that took place on Heisman Trophy night, right after the Heisman Trophy at Madison Square Garden, the Big Apple. So that guy fought Ray Robinson. And that fight ended up going to a majority draw, as one judge had Ray Robinson winning and the other two judges had it a draw as he fought Egis Kavalauskas, the Green Machine, prior to Kavalauskas fighting Terrence Crawford. The winner of that fight was in line to get Terrence Crawford, but since the Kavalauskas was the number one contender for the WBO and he did not lose the fight, it ended up being a draw, he maintained his status. He showed no desire of wanting a rematch with Ray Robinson. He wanted to go directly into a championship matchup with Terrence Crawford. Now, Ray Robinson is a very, basically is a safety first fighter, defensive oriented fighter. You know, he's got decent skills, very slick, but he's not going to look to engage at all. He's going to be basically on his bicycle the whole fight, using his jab, controlling distance, throwing combinations at times, but basically he's trying to stay out of harm's way. And that's going to make Terrence Crawford have to be the more aggressive fighter, which he showed in the Egis Kavalauskas fight that he can do that. He's a versatile fighter. He can fight off the back foot and he can fight going forward. That's the difference between Terrence Crawford and Ray Robinson. Ray Robinson only can fight one way. That's basically going backwards. He's not effective going forward at all. He wants you to come to him and he basically wants to counter you and jab and basically stay out of harm's way. So that's going to make for an interesting fight, and for it to be any kind of fan-friendly type of fight, Terrence Crawford's gonna have to make the fight, man. But these two guys have a history. They fought in the amateurs. I think I know Ray Robinson beat him in the amateurs. So Ray Robinson is gonna do a lot of trash talking leading up to this fight. I think Terrence Crawford made a comment about Ray Robinson and his trash talking. He said The problem with Ray Robinson is when he's talking trash, he thinks everybody believes the trash that is coming out of his mouth, but I don't believe that. He said something to that fact. I'm paraphrasing though, but he says Ray Robinson believes the stuff that's coming out of his mouth, and he believes other people believes the stuff that's coming out of his mouth. But he said I'm not falling for that, man. So that should be make for an interesting lead up to the fight. Terrence Bud Crawford, a lot of people are gonna shit on this matchup. They're gonna say, look here, man, two of your last 3 fights have been lackluster opponents. You look at Jose Benavidez, didn't have a huge resume, given the fact that he was undefeated, but he didn't have a big name on his record that he defeated going into that fight with Crawford. Then he fought Amir Khan. A lot of people thought he was faded, past his prime type of fighter. His best days were behind him. He fought him in a pay-per-view fight. Pay-per-view numbers wasn't that good in the United States. They didn't release the numbers in the UK, but I think it did around 150,000 pay-per-views. So didn't do well. Lost money for Top Rank, and then after that he took on Igor Kavaliauskas, which turned out to be a good fight, action-packed fight. But Kavaliauskas didn't have the buzz or the brand name going into that fight. So two of his three last fights have been lackluster opponents. Ray Robinson is going to fall into that same category as a lackluster opponent. So Terrence Bud Crawford is going to have to hear the criticism leading up into this fight, but he's going to have to take the pros and the cons of it. That's the cons of the matchup. A lot of people are going to shit on it. They're going to say the guy is not an exciting type of fighter. He's not a big name. He hasn't beat any big name on his resume, and they're going to shit on the fight. But the pros is it's going to keep Terrence Crawford busy. Ray Robinson has fought under Top Rank banner. I don't know if he's officially signed to Top Rank, but he's fought on a lot of Top Rank shows. Like I said, his last fight, he fought Igor Kavaliauskas. He might have had a fight after that against a low-level opponent. I got to look at his box rec, but his last fight that he fought that I remember was against Igor Kavaliauskas. And, that fight I thought Kavaliauskas won, man. But it was a very close fight, man. It was a fight that was not an exciting fight to watch. Igor Kavaliauskas ended up fighting Ray Robinson on his terms. He didn't cut the ring off well. He followed him around. He let Ray Robinson get breaks during the rounds of the fight. Didn't put the pressure on him, make him fight and make him and go to the body and to slow him down. He didn't do any of those things well, but he was able to, in my opinion, to land the more effective punches to win a decision. But he basically fought Ray Robinson fight, and that's what Terrence Crawford is going to have to avoid doing once these two get in the ring. He's going to have to do what Kavaliauskas did do, cut the ring off, go to the body, step up the pace, make Ray Robinson fight, go to the body, and eventually stop Ray Robinson in the second half of the fight. And I think that's what will happen with Terrence Crawford versus Ray Robinson. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what transpires. But that's what I'm hearing, man. I'm hearing Terrence Crawford next opponent is going to be Ray Robinson, man. Now location is still going to be up in the air. They might that fight is more than likely. I'm not going to say for sure, but more likely going to take place without fans. It could be Las Vegas. They could find an area could be Las Vegas, more than likely, if it's not without fans. Now, if they're able to have fans around the October time or late September, then maybe they could put that fight in Omaha, Nebraska, or Lincoln, Nebraska. Those two arenas are a good hotbed of Terrence Crawford fans and supporters. They've drawn very well. They've drawn huge crowds when he's fought in Lincoln, Nebraska, and in his hometown of Omaha, Nebraska. So those two venues could be in play if they're able to allow fans in there. I think Nebraska has a real low coronavirus case rate. I think their total cases are very low compared to other states in the United States. So that fight could possibly take place in Omaha, Nebraska, or Lincoln, Nebraska. Those will be the two places that they can look to hold that fight if they are allowed to have crowds. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what transpires. But again, Terrence Bud Crawford versus Ray Robinson in September, October is what I'm hearing is going to be Bud Crawford's next opponent. It's going to basically be a stay busy fight. And then Bob Arum, his promoter, will look to pursue a Manny Pacquiao fight in 2021. They're not going to be able to do that fight again, as I stated earlier in this video, this year, because Bahrain, the country that was looking to put on that fight, is not going to be able to allow fans in attendance this year. They're not going to be able to allow fans until 2021. That's what then pretty much killed Manny Pacquiao versus Terrence Crawford for this year. We'll see what happens though. But once they get to 2021, they'll have competition, especially if Saudi Arabia is open. They'll be able to throw big money. They've got a deal, a sweetheart deal. Eddie Hearn's got a sweetheart deal with Saudi Arabia and those officials down there. They'll be able to throw big money for Manny Pacquiao versus Mikey Garcia fight for 2021 too, as Saudi Arabia along with Bahrain are not gonna put on fights with crowds in 2020. They'll be looking to put those type of fights on in 2021 once they get control of the coronavirus. If they get control of the coronavirus, we have to see what happens and we have to see what transpires. Let me know what you think in the comment section about Terrence Crawford versus Ray Robinson. You think it's a good fight or you think it's a horrible fight? You think it's, like I said, he's going to take a lot of criticism for this fight, but do you think he's kind of like stuck between a rock and a hard place? He's got to find an opponent. Sean Porter's not going to be available because that fight has got to take place in front of a crowd to make the money that both fighters are going to demand to fight each other. Yordenis Ugas is going another route. He's going a WBA regular route as he's looking to fight for that WBA regular against Boutuayev. I think he's looking to fight him, or maybe he's either fight him for the WBA regular or fight another opponent that's in the top who's right below him, and then the winner of that will be the WBA regular, and then will be forced to fight Boutuayev next. But either way it goes, Yordenis Ugas is going to be fighting for the WBA regular in his next fight, so he's not going to be available. And the Manny Pacquiao, who's the guy that's going to ask for at least $20 million guaranteed minimum in his next fight, that fight has to take place with a live gate or a huge site fee. You have to take place in a live gate here in the United States, which as you know, a live gate entails having a large crowd paying big numbers per seat. That's not going to happen in the United States in 2020, or a huge site fee, and that's what a country like Bahrain was putting up for that fight, but they're not going to be able to do anything in 2020 involving live crowds, and they're not looking to do anything until 2021. So that cancels that out for this year. So let me know what you think in the comment section about Terrence Bud Crawford versus Ray Robinson in September, October, the fall of 2020. What you think about that fight, man, and what you think about Terrence Crawford overall opponents in his last 3 fights, man. This will be the last 4 fights, and I think 3 of the last 4 fights is lackluster, if you're not including Amir Khan, who had the name, but recently didn't have the notable fights, and pretty much is past his best days. Let me know what you think in the comment section. This is JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. I holla.